Hello, in this video we discuss about SVM. SVM concept belongs to the machine learning. SVM stands for support vector mission. It is one of the most popular supervised learning algorithm which is used for classification as well as the regression problems. Mostly support vector mission is used for classification problems. The main goal of the support vector mission algorithm is to create the baseline or decision boundary or decision boundary, or we can call as hyperplane, that can segregate n-dimensional space into classes so that we can easily put the new data point in the correct category in the future. There can be multiple lines or decision boundaries to segregate the classes in n-dimensional space, but we need to find out the best decision boundary that help us to classify the data points. This boundary is known as hyperplane of SVM. The dimensions of the hyperplane depends upon the features. If there are two features, then the hyperplane will be straight line. If there are more than two features, that means three features, then the hyperplane will be a two-dimensional plane. We always create a hyperplane that has a maximum margin, which means the maximum distance between the data points. The data points or support vectors that are the closest to the hyperplane or which affect the point position of the hyperplane or termed as support vectors. So we can call data points or we can call as vectors also. In these data points or vectors supports the hyperplane, hence it called as support vector. The data points support the hyperplane, so that we can call as support vectors. Let us consider a graph having a dimensions height and weight. Here, these are called as data points. Let us consider these data points can be class 1 and these data points can belong to the class 2. Let us consider a new data point. SVM states that either this new data point can either belongs to the class 1 or class 2. We can figure it out by using the SVM. A new data point. A new data point. Can anyone say that why this new data point can belongs to the class 2? Okay. This new data point can belongs to the class 2. Before going to this, just we know about what are support vectors. Support vectors, here it can represent the points. Support vectors means that uh, before the support vectors, we can draw a line between the class 1 and class 2. So this is nothing but a line, or we can call as hyperplane. So from class 1, this data point is close to the hyperplane. From class 2, this data point is close to the hyperplane. So that we consider these two data points are called as support vectors. So that the, the closest points which support the hyperplane is nothing but support vectors. Okay, these are called as support vectors. This is nothing but a hyperplane. A new data point. After drawing a hyperplane, these data points will belongs to the class 2. From the hyperplane, we can say that a new data point will be belongs to the class 2. As already we told that this a line is known as hyperplane and these two data points can be considered as the support vectors. And we have d plus and d minus. D plus is the shortest distance to the closest positive point. Means that a new data point belongs to the class 2. That means a support vector from the class 2 is considered as positive point. So that d plus is the shortest distance to the closest positive point, and d minus is the shortest distance to the closest negative point. We can conclude that from class 2, the support vector is taken as negative point. So that d minus is the shortest distance to the closest negative point. This is about SVM. Thank you.